Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Victor, and welcome to today's episode of the weekly design session. So, if you're not familiar, this is a design session I do every week, and where I try to show different design explorations that I'm doing inside of Figma. Most of them are creative. Most of them I try to explore how to prototype, how to do make complex yet simple complex prototypes, but then I try to simplify the process of making them sort of Figma, and also try to make them very very what's it called responsive and reusable across board, so that you can actually still reuse that particular component in lots of other designs. So for today's design session, what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be showing how to make this cursor follow effect inside of Figma. So you can see as I move my mouse across the canvas, the image just follows the where my mouse cursor goes to, although I have to move a certain distance before the image before the image actually follows the cursor. But I think you get the idea of what is currently happening here. As I'm not having to click I'm not clicking anything, I'm just moving my mouse across board, and the image is just following me around the canvas. So I'm just going to be showing how it's going to be made. Before I do that, I have to break it down what's happening in the design, so you can actually make some sort of sense. So you can see that, like I said, from what we have here, this is a depiction of what's going on behind the scenes. I have different touch zones. Let me call them touch zones here. So this red, black, these are just to show you the different zones that are in the screen. So the idea is that as my mouse enters a particular zone, the zone triggers my mouse being in that zone triggers the cursor, or the cursor to move to that particular zone in the image. So if my mouse were here in this particular red zone here, the image cursor would move to this particular section. So I'm saying image cursor, but then it could actually be any kind of cursor. I'm going to show you how to create even a very very responsive and scalable cursor of any kind. So one, you can see that in the prototype here, if I were to move take this distance here, nothing is happening. If I were to move farther away from that particular point in the design, that's when the image actually moves to the image actually is triggered to follow the cursor. So that's what's happening in the behind the scenes. There's different zones, and then each zone acts as a trigger for the mouse cursor to move to that particular area in the canvas. So that's just what's happening here. I have the prototype set up as a component, so that whenever my mouse goes to a particular zone, the cursor just follows. I'm saying cursor, but then it's I'm supposed to say custom cursor rather. So yeah, that's what's happening in the design. That's a simplistic version of what's happening. So as we're trying to replicate it, you're going to see how it's all done step by step. So without much ado, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a viewport. I do this every design session. I give the dimensions 1440 and 810. So it's a 16 by 9 aspect ratio frame. What I mean by 16 by 9, if I were to drop the height, if I were to constrain properties here and drop the height to 9, the width will also change to 16 by 9. So this is the standard screen aspect ratio for most landscape screens. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to call this thing viewport. Okay. If you're familiar with development terms, viewport is the area where you have the, should I go above the fold? I can't really describe it properly. I don't want to spend too much time trying to describe what the viewport is, but yeah, I'm just going to call it viewport. It's not really going to do much currently, but let's just ignore it. So now this is where my website is going to be. So if I were to make it let's say something green, okay, alright, to play. So this is the website frame. This is meant to be the website frame. So everything I'm going to be doing is going to come inside of this place at the end of the day. So that's just something to keep in mind. But then currently we're not going to really do anything there. So the next thing I want to do now is to start creating my actual components. That's this component you see here, this row group component. I think it's supposed to be called image hover components. But yeah, let's just carry on. So the next thing I want to do is create a rectangle. Not rectangle, I think a frame. So we need a frame for this one. So I'm going to create a frame. I'm going to click on this button here, this frame button, and then just click on the screen and add a frame. So I'm going to make the frame an obnoxious color so you can see what's happening. Okay, red. Okay, and then I'm going to make this one, duplicate it, and then make this one green. Okay, and then I'm going to select both of them, and then I'm going to, I think there's another viewport here, delete. Okay, delete it. So I'm going to make this one red. I have a red frame, I have a green frame. frame. So I'm going to select both of them, and then I'm going to rename them to be called touch zones. So this is going to be our touch zones. Those touch zones I showed earlier, this is what's going to be our touch zone. So let me call it touch zone instead of touch zone. So this red one is a touch zone, the green one is a touch zone, this red one, sorry, the red one is a touch zone, the green one is a touch zone. So these are both touch zones. I'm going to make up multiple duplicates of them, but currently I need 2 so I can get started from there. So I'm going to select both of them, and then I'm going to remove the spacing between them, make the spacing 0, so that they're close together. And then I want to now auto layout them, Shift A. So I've Shift A them, and then they are now an auto layout group. So the next thing I want to do is to call this thing row. I want to call it row. Yeah, let's call it row, because like it's meant to like stack up horizontally, like in a row format. So I've made these touch zones now. I've stacked them to like a row, a touch zone row. So the next thing I want to do is to make this row very responsive, because currently, if I were to scale the row if I were to scale it vertically, horizontally, you're going to see that the touch zones are not really doing anything. They're just still the same size that they were originally. But then I don't want that. I want the touch zones to be very, very responsive. So I'm just going to press enter to select touch zones instead of it, and then I'm going to set if you've done auto layout, if you've auto layouted them inside of a row group, you should be able to set the behavior, vertical and horizontal behavior, from fixed width to fill container, and then the height as well, so fill container. So like this, if I were to click on the row and then expand it vertically, you can see that the touch zones are vertically and horizontally resizing to fill the container that they are inside of, the row container that they are inside of. So with that, we're set to start proceeding with our work. So the next thing I want to do is to create a duplicate of the red one and move it sideways, so it's like a flag in this flag pattern format. So I want to also duplicate it downwards, and then I want to do 2 duplicates of them, and then I want to select the 3 of them, and then I want to remove the spacing between them. You can do that by pressing distribute vertical spacing and then pressing 0. So in the spacing between them, change it to 0 so that they are like close together. Then the next thing you want to create a pattern. So I don't want, if it's like this, you can see that you probably cannot tell where the row break is happening, where the division between them is happening. So I want to like create a visual pattern so I can be able to identify which is which. So I just want to make this green, duplicate the green, delete a red in the middle one, and then move the red here to the middle, or change the middle one to the red, however you want to go about it. Do something like, as long as you have something like this checkerboard sort of design, this is what you want to have. So once you have this done, you want to select everything, and then you want to auto layout them, Shift A again. So I'm going to call this one now. I'm going to call this one, what do I call it? So what contextual name do I give it? Let me give it image over canvas. Sorry, no, follow canvas, crystal. Let's just call it canvas. Let's not give it a too complicated name. It's important that you actually give them good names so that like you're able to like know which is which and everything. It's just like very, very good design and development and practice, especially if you're going to go into development. It's important for you to have to know how to give your design elements very, very contextual names. So that's just something I want to do. So if you see now, I don't have this checkerboard thing is not like one design. So the next thing I want to do is to make it responsive as well, because if I had to resize it vertically, horizontally, you can see that the checkerboard elements are not resizing as well. So what I can do to achieve that is just to press enter to select the canvas, press enter, select the rows, and then set the vertical and horizontal resizing to fill container to fill container. So they're just going to like resize what's it called, in proportion to the canvas that they're inside of. So if I to stretch the canvas around like this, you can see that they are properly resizing the way they're supposed to resize. So that's just something you want to also have in mind as well. So next thing I want to do, one second. Next thing I want to do, is to make the height and width the same as the viewport. So I want to just like move it to the top, or you can resize it manually here just by coming here and clicking 1440, and then in the heights add make it 810. So like this we're good to go. You can resize, align vertical, align left, align top. So it's just like smack right in the middle of your design. So that's just something I want to do, and then I want to take it out of it. So all the work is going to be done outside. Once we're done, we can now move it inside of the viewport. So I want to start doing the work now. So the next thing I want to do is to create my cursor. So I want to make my cursor elements, or my custom cursor. Let me call it custom cursor. So the custom cursor I'm talking about here is like this image. Currently it's an image, so it could be anything really. It could be anything. I think at some point, I think this website I currently checked out, what's the name, Leron Moran interiors.com. So you can see that on their custom cursor is like this thing called drag. I can't, my normal cursor is not showing again, but they can see this drag thing that's being shown. So that's the custom cursor. So I want to like show you how to create like a custom and reusable, scalable, let me call, I think scalable is the word, a very scalable custom cursor. So let's get to that. So here it's an image, but here it's a drag, anything that's showing drag and whatever. So you can make it whatever you want to make it. So let's just get to creating that. So the next thing I want to do is to outside, I want to create a frame outside. I think I want to make the frame height 200 by 200. Like there's no particular size, but I think 200 by 200 is just fine for this one. So it could be any size again, could be any size, but let's just make it and call it cursor. Let's call it cursor. Okay. So once this is done, the next thing I want to do is to make it a component. So I'm making it a component so that I'm going to be dropping it inside of this design, inside of this canvas. Yes, but then I'm making it a component so that I can always like change it to whatever I want to change it from outside without having to like come into the canvas and start like messing things around. So here I want to make the component. Down to Control C, that's copy it, and then click on the canvas, and then Control V, and then I paste inside of the canvas. So I'm pasting inside of the canvas. If you can see what's happening here, it's stacking up inside of the auto layout group, just like the other rows are stacking up vertically. So but then I want to be able to move it around because the cursor is meant to like be able to move around to any point in any place, any point or place, like any place in the canvas. Yeah, so but then if you are going to leave inside of this auto layout group like this by default, like this, it's not going to be able to, you can't move it around. You can only move it like top, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. So you want to be able to like move it omnidirectionally, like everywhere. So to achieve that but then still maintaining the auto layout thing, you can just click on this option here called absolute positioning. So once you click on it, visually it takes the element out of the auto layout group. You can see I can move it around now. I can move it anywhere in the canvas, but then in the layers panel it's still part of the auto layout group. So that's something you want to have, like a very clean, and it's just a way for you to know how to properly structure your design, because I believe that once you're building for the web, once you're actually like designing building in local tools and even in actual code, it's important to have all these things at the back of your mind so that it makes your development process very easy and very fluid and also responsive as well. So yeah, press once you have it inside of the group. Let me go back. Have inside of the group. Okay, you can just click on this button here, absolute position. It's just going to take it out of the design visually, but then in the layers panel it's still part of the auto layout group. So that's just something else you have. So like this, I can easily press align horizontal center, align vertical center. So it's in the middle of the design now. This is our starting point. We're going to start from here and then create all the other states that it's meant to contain. So something I want to quickly show. Should I show you now? No, let's move forward. So the next thing I want to do is to create like a variation where I want to create a variation. I want to start creating the states, canvas states now. So let's move this in a way. These things I'm creating are going to be like one component set. So just try to stick around while we do all of that. So the first state I want to have is an empty state, or like invisible, where the everything in the canvas is like invisible, where the cursor rather is. Because if you see this design here or this prototype here, you can't see anything on screen. It's until I hover over the screen. Okay, not this one. Sorry, this one. So once I hover over the screen, that's when an image appears, and then the image moves to the particular point where I want it to move to. So that's what you want to like have for initial stage. You can have yours like as a as I say, where the cursor is already visible. That's up to you. But then I think to make more sense to like shock the user, like I say shock in a good way, like surprise them. Yeah, surprise is the word actually. So surprise them with what you have going on. So they might not see, they may be like, oh, what exactly is this empty canvas? It's until they move to the canvas and they see, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. So it's a good surprise for users to see. So that's just something I want to create for mine as well. So to do that is just to create a duplicate, and then I want to in this duplicate I want to like turn down the opacity of this what's it called, of the cursor. So something I want to do, so I realize that it will like ease my work process, is to select the rows, select all the rows, 1 2 3, and then group them. I'm going to group them. So I've grouped them. Although this group is going to be temporary. Is it going to be temporary? Is it going to be temporary? Let's make it temporary. Let's make it temporary. Or let's not group them. Let's auto layout them, because I don't trust group anything group. Let's auto layout them. That's Shift A. So I've auto layouted the what's it called, the rows. I'm going to call this one rows. Am I going to call it rows? Row stack. Let's call it stack. Let's just call it stack. Let's call it stack. Let's call it row stack. Row stack. Okay, so I'm trying to like give them very distinct names, so that when I try to like edit in bulk later, it doesn't like give me I don't run into any trouble. So the next thing I want to do is to, because I'm making this here that are not present here, I'm going to delete this one. And then duplicate it again, and then here I'm going to turn up the opacity of the cursor itself, of the custom cursor. So the next thing I want to do now is to start creating variations. Like I said, variations of the design where the cursor is moving across the particular the different touch zone. So the next thing I want to do is to duplicate it, and then I want to make this touch zone. Oh boy, there's something I should have done. Again, I should have named the touch zones properly. So let's go back. So naming is important, because I don't want to get, if I were to be working on this for myself, I don't think I would have really bothered about naming conventions. But since I'm working on this so that you can like try to follow along, it's important that I give you like really good names so you can know what exactly is happening at any point in time. So the first thing I want to do is that this touch zone, I want to name the touch zones by position, by the position they are in the design. So this one is at the top left, so I'm going to call it top left. Okay, I'm going to call this one top mid. Top mid. Okay, then I'm going to call this one top right, and then I'm going to call this one, this touch zone here, that's mid for middle, mid left. Okay, and this one I'm going to call it mid, as in middle, and then I'm going to call this one mid right. Okay, then this one, that's the bottom left. Okay, I'm going to call it bottom left. I'm going to call this one bottom mid. Then I'm going to call the last one, obviously, bottom right. Okay, so we have really good names for the touch zones now, but then the row groups, let's give them also good names as well. Let's call this one bottom. Should we give it numbers? Should we give them numbers? I think numbers. Trying to give them really good names so I don't like run into any problems like what I'm trying to do. Let's call this one, let's not call it bottom, let's call it last, let's call it second, let's call it first. Okay, so that's first row, second row, and then last row, and then you have inside of the rows now have the touch zones, which are called which have contextual names that tell you what position they are exactly in. So I'm going to duplicate this now, and then in this version I'm going to turn up the opacity of the cursor itself. So the opacity is up now, and we can proceed to do more variations of it. So duplicate this, and then in this version I want to move the cursor to the to the middle left. So this is the middle left here, so I'm going to move it to the middle left. So to do that, you can just select the middle left layer. You can click on hold control or hold command, and then select into the middle left layer, and then you can hold shift now, and then select the cursor. So you can see that in the layers panel I've always selected the middle left layer, middle left touch zone, and also the cursor as well. So I can just press align horizontal centers. Okay, I don't think it will work. I actually want to move to the center design, so I want to align left and then align horizontal centers again. So you can see that currently the cursor is in the middle of the bottom of the middle left touch zone. So that's the first thing I want to do. Then the next one is I want to move it here, and then I want to align the cursor to the center of the middle right. Yeah, so I want to select the middle right, select the cursor, the layers panel, and then align them align the cursor into the center of the into the center of the middle right touch zone. So that's just what you want to do for that. So I think I'm done with the middle variation. So you can see that how it works. This is the how it's going to move. If I were to hover my mouse from in any part of this middle area, if I were to move to the middle, move my cursor to the middle left, the cursor is going to move there, and then if I were to move to the middle right, the cursor is going to go there. So I'm just going to create the variations for the other touch zones as well. It's just for you to just select all of them. Then I'm going to just pick it downwards. Okay, and then here I'm going to select the top middle, and then move the cursor align the cursor to the top, and then align it centrally so that it's in center of the top left. Here I'm going to do the same for the top left as well. So align the cursor, align it to center, so you can see that the cursor is in center of the top left. So that's just that. Then this one for the top right as well, the same thing, align it, so it's in the center, it's all in the center of the touch zone. So the same thing I'm going to do the same thing for the canvas, downwards. So I'm going to select the bottom mid and select the cursor, and then align the cursor to the bottom, and then align it to the vertical center as well. So like that, I have the alignments thing going on. Align to the bottom, align to the vertical center, align to the bottom, align to the vertical center. So like this, I have all the possible touch zones. Another thing I want to mention is that you can actually make more touch zones more than this. You can actually make like up to like 500 touch zones. Depends on you. The more you have touch zones, the less distance your cursor has to travel before the image moves. And I feel like the more fluid is going to make your design. However, it just means that you're going to like have to create more prototypes for it. More prototype wires for it, which I don't think we really have. So you can see that this one just has like 9 touch zones. We have all of these wires going around trying to like make the interaction work. But then if you had more than this, it's going to be like a lot of work having to do all of that. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. So yeah, let's move forward. So you can have more touch zones, like I said. It's just that you have to do more prototyping. But then let's do this one first, and then you can proceed to. You can even have like less touch zones. You can have like 4 touch zones. It's totally fine. You can have 6 touch zones. Totally fine. It just means that you have to travel more distance before the cursor moves. And personally, I feel like if you have to travel more distance, it breaks the fluidity of the entire cursor follow thing. So I want to have like, I think 9 is a like decent amount of touch zones. So let's just go with this 9. And if you want to like work on yours, you can choose to like make more touch zones. Depends on you entirely. So yeah, with this done, I can now start to create my component set. So I can select all of them, and then I want to create like a component set. So create component set. So like this, I've accounted for all the possible touch zones, variation. So I can now start creating my interaction. So like I said, I only need to get the interactions right for just one of them, this particular one, because this is where the cursor actually like appears, and then you can start moving it around. So this is the one I want to focus on getting the interactions right for, and then the rest can come later. So before I even go there, I think another of the mundane tasks I want to do, I call it mundane tasks because these are like really tiring things for me personally to do. But then it's important for you to do all these things so that later on when you're trying to like build something scalable, you don't run into problems. So I'm going to like name my frames, my states. These are states now. These are different states of this particular canvas component. So I'm going to name these states very, very contextually. So this is the default state. Then this is going to be like the center state, the middle, mid state. Okay, this is the mid. Let's call it mid state. And then this is going to be like the so we can call this thing. Okay, let's delete the property. So we can call this one this is the middle, mid left. This is mid left state. Then this is the mid right state. To name them properly so that you don't run into problems later on in future. So this is the top mid state. Okay, this is the mid top right state. Okay, then this is the top left. Oh boy, no, this is top right rather. This is top right. Okay, this is top right. Then this is the top left. I should have called it top left. This is top left. Okay, top left. top right, cool, top left, top right, cool. So yeah, this is the bottom mid state. This is the bottom left. Okay, then this is the bottom right state. I hope I'm naming it correctly. Okay, so we have all the names, all the states properly named. This is default state, so we won't run into problems later on in the future. So that's just something to keep in mind. So the next thing I want to do is start prototyping. Now I can start prototyping my prototyping design now. So the first thing, like I said, I want to nail the prototype for just one of the designs for just this particular state, since it's like the first state, and then all the rest can just copy from this particular interaction. So let's get started. So I want to just go to prototype mode, and then I want to select each of the zones, and then start linking them to their to their appropriate state. So this zone, this top left zone, the idea is that once I hover over this top right zone, the mouse cursor should come here. So I should like try to identify the top right zone. So this is top right zone here. So I'm just going to like link it. This is the state where the cursor is in top right. So I'm just going to link it with this one. So keep in mind, I'm not going to bother too much about prototype setting. I'm going to edit them in bulk later after I'm done linking them together. But first of all, focus on the linking part first. So just link this one as well. This one, I'm going to link this one to that. This is the top mid state. So I'm going to look for top mid. This is top mid state here. So link it with top mid state. This is the top right state. Linking with top right state. Cool. So we're done with that one. For the second row, we're going to link this one. Link this state with the appropriate. So okay, yeah, this is it. So link it with this one. This is the state. This is actually the state where it is. But let's ignore it. It might be a bit troublesome. Let's ignore this middle one first. Let's not link it back to itself. It may cause some trouble later. So let's just move on. So this one, I'm going to link it with the appropriate state. So this is the appropriate state. This one, this bottom left, I'm going to link it bottom left. Yeah, this is bottom left here. This is bottom mid. Okay, this is, keep in mind, I'm linking the touch zones to their appropriate states. So don't link the entire the entire frame. Link all the entire row. Link just the touch zones only. So link this bottom right to bottom right, and I think we're done for the 9 touch zones except this one. So this one, trying to think of the best way possible. So I am going to come here, and because if I try to link it like this, I may run into some issues. Figma is not going to like give me the result. I'm going to link it back to one of the layers. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do personally is to come here and press plus on the interactions. So you can actually manually add the like link layers to each other here instead of having to like draw wires. You can actually come here and do it like do it here instead. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press plus here, and then I'm going to press change to, and then I'm going to change it to change the property to change to mid. So I'm linking, this is the mid state. Keep in mind, this is the mid state. So this is the mid state. So I'm going to link this this middle layer to the mid state. That's what I'm actually trying to do here. But what I need to do is just to search from click to none and change property, navigate to. Okay, yeah. So navigate to instead of change to. So set to navigate to instead of change to, and then set the. I think we have some trouble. Oh, what's the best way to do this? I don't want you to get confused while you're doing it. So I think I'll take another route for this particular middle one. So what I'm going to do for the middle one is I'm going to copy, paste, do the interaction here instead. So this is I'm going to perform the linking here. I'm going to link this middle touch zone back to this middle state. So like this, I'll be able to like create that middle thing. So I'm going to copy this middle now. I'm going to copy the middle touch zone here. Copy this one that has the interaction. Control C, and then I'm going to paste it. Select this touch zone here, this middle touch zone, and paste to replace it. Paste to replace. So like this, I've been able to copy this one with the interaction to this one. Because if I to like do it manually, do it by dragging the wire, I may end up like causing some troubles which I don't want. So I'm just going to create the interaction in another state instead. Create the link the middle state to its own state on another in another state, and then I'm going to copy the middle touch zone there, and then paste it in this one with the interaction. So it's just going to link back to itself. So that way I don't have to like do any messing around. So I don't like get like weird results. That's something really particular. So you can see that here now it's showing click, and it's linking back to the middle, to the mid what do you call it, the mid state. And this is the mid state here, this is the mid state, so mid state. So but there was no way for me to like link that layer back to this thing without causing some trouble, so I just went to go and take another route. So like this, I'll be able to like prototype all the 9 touch zones to what they should to the layers that they should be linked to properly. This one, top right, top left goes to top left, top mid goes to top mid, and then top right goes to top right. So that's just all you want to do. So after you've done that, the next thing you want to do is just to copy this one. Copy the should we copy now? Yeah, let's copy now. So let's copy the row stack. See the row stack? Yeah, let's copy the row stack. Control C the row stack, and then select. Just how best should we do this? Just try to like replace all the row stacks on the other one. So I think we can do that by just selecting, clicking on the states, clicking on the states to select the row stack, and double clicking on the other one to select. So you can see that it's just row stack that's selected on all the other layers. Row stack. So try to select row stack. So you can do this one by one, but me, since I like know how my way around, so it's best if I would advise you to do it one by one instead, because I don't think it's a lot of work for you to do one by one. But because you may run into trouble by selecting something else. But then since I think I know my way around, I want to just select row stack, select row stack on all the other states. Okay, so you can see that I have row stack that contains all the first row, second rows, and third rows, and the touch zones selected. So like this, I want to just do shift. I want to double click, and then I want to see paste to replace. So the shortcut is shift command arrow, shift control arrow to paste to replace. So I guess I've pasted to replace all the other row stacks, and you can see that it's Figma just automatically pasted all the interactions as all the linking that I've linked. So this is what you want to have. Like this is an easy and efficient way to go around the the linking across different states, because if I used to do one by one, this would be like a huge hassle for me to go through. So you can see how I just like bulk copied and bulk pasted, and then all the interactions are copied and pasted as well. So to bulk adjust the interactions, now what I can do is to select all the ones that have interactions. You can see I'm exempting this default state. I'm going to come back to it. Selecting all the default states, and then I want to press enter on the row stack. Once the row stacks are selected, I want to press enter. Row stacks are selected. I want to press enter to select all the first, second, and last rows. So you can see in all the states, first, second, and last rows are selected. I want to press enter again to select all the touch zones, and then you can see that here on Figma shows me like this interaction that's applied to them, because they have like the same interaction applied to them, which is why I currently have just one interaction here. Okay, I think there's a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Oh boy. Okay, I think what that's silly of me. I did I did this thing, Ctrl Z, to the point where it went back to the state where I only had just one of them, just one of the states prototypes. So I'm just going to copy this row stack again, Ctrl C this row stack, and then paste to replace on the other row stack as well, so that the interactions can be pasted across board. Row stack. Okay. Why are you not working for me as you should again? But yeah, let's just do one by one instead. So I'm going to copy this row stack here. I'm going to paste to replace. Let's have the interactions. Yeah, so you can see it has the interactions. So I'm going to go to the state again. I'm going to paste to replace the row stack with all the interactions on copy and paste it as well. Paste to replace here. I think that bulk thing is going to cause trouble, so paste to replace here as well. I think this is a longer route, but then it still works. So yeah, let's do it like this to avoid mistakes instead. So paste to replace, so this one as well, paste to replace the row stack. So you can see I'm not touching the cursor. I'm not touching the cursor at all. I'm not touching the cursor. Cursor remains where it is, but then the row stack itself is what I'm pasting to replace, because that's where the interactions are applied. So I'm going to paste to replace this row stack as well. So like this, I think we'll be able to cover all the all the 9 different states, all the 9 important states. This one is default. I'm not going to touch it just yet. So the last thing I want to, not the last thing, sorry, not the last thing. So the next thing I want to do is to select all these, the important ones that have the important ones, and then I want to press enter to select the row stack. Sorry, to select the row stack and everything inside, and then press enter again to select everything inside, and then press enter again until you get this what's it called option. Keep in mind that I'm still in prototype mode. Once you get this option, because if you can see, while I was when I selected all of them, I'm not seeing anything in the interactions panel. There's nothing written there. But then when I press enter, I still don't see anything. Enter again until I select the actual touch zones before I see the interactions that they have. Since it's a common interaction, there you can see that the interaction is being showed here. Click, and then the location, the destination is mixed because obviously they are linked to different places. So don't touch this one. Just come here and click on this click part, and then change the on click to mouse enter. So mouse enter is meant to like be the trigger that triggers. Once your mouse enters a particular zone, the cursor should move to that particular zone. That's the idea. So the interaction I want to choose, I think let's do easing for now. Let's just leave all this one. So smart animate, make sure it's smart animate. Keep in mind it should be smart animate. If not, it's not going to work. Smart animate, you can do easing or ease out depending on you can do easing or ease out. So I think let's leave it at ease out. I think ease out is the one I normally use. So ease out, and then the duration, let's do 800 or 600. 600 is like the default one I normally use, so let's do 600 instead. So that's just all we need to do. I think I want to leave it at that for now, and then I want to go back to testing. So before I test, I want to first of all link this. So I'm coming back to this default state. Now this default state, I want to make sure that once the user hovers over anywhere in the on the canvas, it just changes into this state, and then from this state you can move around to the other state. So I'm going to link this default state to this one, to this first state, and then I'm going to set the trigger to, I think let's do on hover, while hovering for this first one. Just for this first one, let's do while hovering, because while hovering, once my mouse leaves, it means that once my mouse leaves, it should just like what's it called, disappear. So let's change it to easy out. I think this works. Okay, so I think we can test now and see how it works. So we're going to copy this first one, this default state, Ctrl C, and then paste it in our viewport. So you can see that it's not properly aligned. I'm just going to align it properly in the center of my design. Okay, align vertical center, align horizontal center. So we're cool. So I can place now and see how it works. So the idea is that once my mouse comes into view, you can see that as I'm moving across the design, it's following the cursor is following me. This cursor, this box thing, which is meant to be a cursor, is following me around regardless of where I move. Although, like, I feel like personally, this is like a small thing, but when I move too fast, you can see that it's just like it just teleports, and that weird teleporting effect, I don't personally like it. So to something I figured out to be like a fix for that, not a fix, but that dampens the effect, is actually to add like a delay. So if I had to select all these 3 states, all these 9 major states, select them and then switch prototype mode, and then press enter until I get the interaction option. I can add a delay. If it's mouse enter, you can add a delay. So you can add a delay of, let's do 200 milliseconds. 200, I think 200 is fine. So I can't explain it, but it just dampens the what's it called, the jumping effect to some extent. So that's just something I wanted to point out as well. So the last thing I want to do now before I think I'm done with the prototype is to make it so that once my mouse leaves, sorry, I'm trying to like find the best words to frame this statement. Once I'm in any of these states and my mouse goes outside of it, they should like fall back to like the default state, which is like invisible in this state where the cursor just disappears. So you can see that in this original one here, if I move around, once my mouse goes outside, the image kind of goes back to the middle and then fades away. So that's the effect I want to have here, because currently here, when my mouse goes outside, nothing happens, just like the cursor just remains there, and that's not something I personally want for this one. If it's something you want, you can stop there, but for me, I want it so that once my mouse goes outside of the viewport, the image goes back to the middle and then it just disappears. So that's just something I want to do. So to do that, it's just for you to link all these other states. Link the states, not the touch zones now. Link the state itself, just like you linked this state to this other one. Link these ones back to the default state. So it's just for you to just click on the state, then drag it back to this main one. Leave the on-click part for now. We're going to set it. Should we set it now? Let's not set it now. So we're going to just drag the others. Okay. Make sure you have the state selected, and then the arrow the plus that's showing on the state itself, not on the touch zones, on the state itself. You can use one at the top if the sides one are confusing. So just drag from the top back to the default state. Forget this interaction part, and we're going to set it later. So this one, the same thing, default state as well. This one, I think I'm going to drag from here, default state as well. This one, default state. This one. So where the plus appears, just drag it to the default state like this. Default state. Click on the state itself, drag it back to the default state. Click on the state itself, drag it back to the default state. So yeah, like this, you have all the states things. So what you want to do is just select all these major states again. You can select all of them again, and then I want to set it. Okay, no, I want to select all of them. Press you can do Shift A to select all of them, and deselect just this particular one. So we want to just have the interactions that apply to this state, not the touch zone interactions, the state interactions. So these are the state interactions. These are all of them. So you can see that once I have hover my mouse over here, you can see that the state interactions are they change color. So that's just to tell you that this is the interaction I'm trying to adjust. So I can just change it from click to mouse leave. Yeah, I think mouse leave. Yeah, so mouse leave, and then ease in. I think ease in. I figured out ease in works a bit. So yeah, I think that's so. Let's see how it works. So if I were to move my mouse around, and then I move my mouse outside, you can see it goes back to the middle and then it appears. So that's just something I think want to have going for us. So with this now, we're actually done with the prototype part. It's just for us to just clean up. It's just cleaning up that's remaining. So for cleanup, what I want to just do is I can switch to design mode, select the canvas, like that's the entire component, and then you see where it's written selection colors. Just change the selection colors for the touch zones to change the opacity to 0. So for the red ones 0, for the green ones 0, and you can see that I have like a very, very clean looking, although the cursor is no longer going to show. So I can come here and change the cursor color from selection panel, change it to like something like, let's say, red. Okay, so you can see once I move it to my screen, I can move around and then the cursor follows me. So this cursor now, here's where the responsive part now comes into play. So this cursor, something I want to do with it, I want to add any elements. So I can, like I said, I can add elements inside of the cursor, and it's just going to appear inside of the design. So let's first of all switch it back to this mode where it has everything, so we can see what's going on. So I want to now add an image. So I want to draw a rectangle. Let's do 400. Let's do 400, or let's do 600. Let's do 800 by 400. Okay. I think this image size works. Any size, image size, really, depending on what you're going for. That's totally fine. So I'm going to copy this image, cut the what's it called? I'm going to cut it. That's the Ctrl X or Command X, and then click on the cursor component, and then paste it inside. So like this now, the cursor, the image, the rectangle. Let's call it an image. Let's name it image, because we're going to put an image out of it. So the rectangle is currently called image. And I've placed it inside of the cursor frame. Keep in mind, this cursor was a frame, not a rectangle, so I can place anything I want inside of the cursor frame, and it's just going to go inside. So you can see that in the design it has changed color, because the image color is actually what's it called, the image layer color, that's rectangle, is kind of this gray. So it has appeared inside of the states here. But then I also want to turn off clip content. So once I turn off clip content, you can see that instantly it just appears instead of all the designs as well. And this is the kind of thing you want to have, so we can actually make our cursor components very, very reusable and also very, very scalable as well. So as I move across my design, you can see that the image, that's the rectangle, follows me around. So something I also did for mine that I think I want to do here as well, just to give the cursor movement some sort of character, is that if you notice on this other one, if I move to the corners, the image sort of bends. So as I move around the middle and everything, it doesn't bend, but then when I go to the corners, so I just feel like this gives you some sort of character. So I'm just going to do the same thing for this one. So to do that, it's very, very easy. I'm just going to go to the identify the states where the image is at the corner. Like that's the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So this is the top left. Yeah, this is top left state. Yeah, top left. Sorry, top left state. So I'm just going to here. I'm going to rotate the image. I think 15 degree. Rotate 15 degree. So I'm going to go to the top right state. Rotate it minus 15 degree, like the other way. So minus 15 degree, and go to the bottom left right. Rotate it by 15 degree. So I'm holding shift while I'm rotating. So 15. You can see the rotation here, 15 degree. Then this other one, the bottom left state, rotated by minus 15 degree as well. So I have like this dynamic thing going on. If I try to move to the edges, you can see that the image is just like what sort of bends when I go to the edges. So I just think that's something really nice a really nice and characteristic to have to your stuff. So you can do it any way you want to do it. You can do anything you want to do at all. You can like make wires to like make more changes. Maybe when you go to the edges, you should actually like what's it called? The image itself should turn to a circle. So I can actually do that here. Just increase the radius. So you can see that when I go to the corners, it changes to like a circle, and then when I go to the middle or any other part, it changes to normal. So that might be something, but then I don't think this really looks nice. So I think the only one that works for this one is just that bending thing. So you can try different things with yours. That's entirely up to you. So for the main components here, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to now add a proper image to this image layer. So I'm just going to open on Splash. Okay, load on Splash. I hope this thing's recording. I really hope so. Yeah, it's recording. So I'm going to look for arts. I think arts. Anyone is fine. Anyone's totally fine. So I think I want to go for something that stands out, sort of. Okay, let's do this one. I think I want a black and white image. Sorry, I just need to get something that works for me. So you can do what works for you. It's totally fine. Or an image that looks sort of monochrome is what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to select which. Yeah, this. Let's do this. Okay. So I've selected my image and I've applied an image to it. On Splash has added a watermark. So I'm going to select something that doesn't have watermark instead. So which of them? These ones are the free ones. I think yeah, this. So let's do this one. It has enough contrast and it looks monochrome enough. So I think let's do this. It's not the best image, but yeah, you get the message, you get the point. So if I move around my design, you can see how the image moves and I could also do something. I could also even do something. I could even go to my component settings. Sorry, my component, and make it so that once I get to the edges, I can come here. I don't think it works. Okay, yeah, I can come here, and then once it gets to the edges, the entire image should actually grow inside. So I can actually come to the one in the corners, and then I can go to press K on my keyboard to go to scale mode, and then I can come here and select, maybe make it 1.5 to go 1.5. So once you get to the corners, it should grow by 1.5k. This is not part of the tutorial. This is just like me playing around and finding new ways to have different effects. So yeah, let's see how that plays out. So if it gets to the corners, it should like get bigger at the corners. So that's just something. You can even make it get smaller at the corners. So that's just something. So let's go back to the default setting where it's normal size. So that's that for that. Like I said, if you want to do cleanup is very easy. Just click on the canvas here and then change the opacity on the red color to 0. Change the opacity on the green color to 0, and you have like a very clean looking design. So that's just the cleanup we need to do here. So another kind of cursor, this is just another what's it called, by the wayside. Another kind of cursor you can also have is that you can still come here to this cursor component here. Since it's a component, we can do anything we want with it. We can choose to turn off the image, and we can choose to like create another custom cursor inside of it. So you can see that this one is drag. So let's do something like this. Drag. We can draw like a rectangle, circle rather. Draw a circle inside of it. Let's make it 200. Let's make it 150. I think. Centralize it. So keep in mind that anything I'm doing inside of here is appearing inside of the designs. As you can see, it's appearing inside of the designs as well. I can click on the cursor, turn off the fill color, so that it's not showing that white background again. And then I want to make this one. Let's make it black. I think. Okay, and then let's write a text inside of it that says drag. Okay, drag to view. Let's do drag to view, and then let's centralize it inside of design. I think this works. And then the last thing, I think maybe I want to add some flair. I guess some flair. I want to create another rectangle again, another ellipse again, and make it bigger a bit, make it a bit bigger, move to the background, and then I want to make the stroke, add a stroke instead, and then remove the fill. So you have like this what's it called, focus thing going on. So if you check the component, you can see that everything has been reflected across the board. So let's just go to the prototype mode and see how it works. So you can see the drag thing is working just fine. So that component, that cursor component allows you to customize the cursor however you please. Put anything you want inside of it. If it's an image you want to put, if it's a text, if it's anything really, you can just put anything inside of it, and it's just going to work out of the box as long as you've done like the initial work. So you can also go here, go into the components thing. If you want to like move a bit farther, just move things around. You can go to this state, move it around a bit. So if you want to edit, and you want to like see the guidelines, the touch zone guidelines, you can always come here, click on the canvas, and then come to this the colors of the cursor backgrounds of the touch zone background, and then just increase it back to 100, so you can see them and properly edit your stuff. And once you're done, you can edit it back to 0, and you're good to go. So that's the end of today's design session. If you have any questions or any challenges while you're doing this, because I assume this may be a bit challenging, seeing that the component is like, it can get like a bit challenging the way it's really complex and wired all over the place. But then if you ever get lost or need any help, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be willing to help out. So that's all, and thank you for coming to or tuning into this video, and I hope it's of great help to you. Bye.